What is good, YouTube? My name is George. We are going to go over 10 years of my Tre Flip progression. I think it'll be interesting to see how the Tre starts coming together. I've done a similar video in the past about a year ago where I looked at my general 10-year skateboarding progression, but in this one we're going to specifically look at videos where I'm trying to Tre Flip. And before we get into it, a couple of announcements. First of all, the videos are going to have to get a little creative because I am participating in social distancing due to everything that's going on. I hope you guys are all staying safe. So yesterday I actually tried to film a quarantine and chill vlog and I just didn't like how it came out. I actually decided to make a second channel kind of for like posts or videos that I'm not happy with or videos that I just feel don't belong on this main channel. I'll link that in the description in case you want that sort of extra content from me. I also made a channel for my podcast because I'm going to begin doing video versions of those podcast episodes. You can also check that out in the description. And I think that's everything. So let's get into the Tre Flips. I'm here on my YouTube studio sorting by oldest videos. So on January 6th, 2008, I posted a video called Please Help Me Tre Flip. Let's check it out. Wow, I must have been filming this with a potato. I could tell that my body is so small that I just can't get that thing around. I mean, that was like more than 270, which is actually pretty sweet. I feel like at this point already I was pretty close to it, but you can also see the way I'm bending down and popping. I'm literally putting everything I have into that Tre Flip. The description says, I can land them fine now, don't need to help me. That's so funny. I genuinely posted this looking for help for my Tre Flip, and it's a 37-second video, which is just something you would never do nowadays. Let's see if there's comments. Well, I commented on it many times. You need more pop. It's nice that people were actually trying to help me. Also, it's hilarious that on this first try, I just like bust ass. I really do feel like there's an element of like, one, you just need a certain amount of tries and practice and eventually it's gonna come together. Two, I think the Tre Flip is like way harder for kids. Like when you have a small body and your legs are short, it's just not easy to get the Tre around. All right, let's keep looking here. Just for reference, this is later in 2008. Let's take a look at my varial flip.
Hi, I'm George and I skate.
So cringe. Look at those Nikes. I was ahead of my time. Honestly, those flatground tricks are kind of steezy for a little kid. A little tic-tac. You could tell my trucks are super tight, but honestly not bad. Here's another one. Under-rotated. Hey. I do remember I had varial flip before I started learning the Tre. I mean, they are super different tricks. In my brain, when I do a varial flip today, it's a pop. And when I do a Tre, it's a scoop. And they're super different. Okay, so here's April 2008. Tre Flip, good quality. It's quite the angle here. It's like the bottom half of the frame is just the floor. Honestly, that was like a little kid Tre Flip. It was not proper. I think it went 270. That epic reaction. I really wish I chilled with the slow-mo when I was younger. Also in this one, I know it's not the best angle, but you can see I had that front foot really far back, and that helps a lot of kids start to get their Tre all the way around. For whatever reason, when you're a small person, it's easier to scoop the Tre when your feet are like really close together. Apparently, a month later, I decided I was good enough to make a trick tip for the Tre Flip. That really is hilarious. Let's take a look. Oh, I thought I was so cool with my fisheye. Look at that fisheye. Still, 50% of the shot is the floor. Man. Again with the slow-mo, I'm so stupid. Alright, that Tre Flip actually... So obviously it was sketchy, and I did not roll away, and I rolled away backwards. That kind of went around. And here you could see what I'm talking about with the feet. My front foot might even be touching those back bolts. For whatever reason, that makes it easier to bring it around when you're first learning this trick. I mean, pretty much everybody starts setting up the Tre with their foot back there. The tail is not touching the ground until the board has rotated 90, which is really interesting. I know that learning the Tre, you really think about it, and people teach you to think about it like a scoop and a flick. They're like separate motions. But now I think about it as sort of this all-in-one scoop flick. You create this pressure with equal weight on both feet, just let them rip, and I swear the Tre just goes around. but we'll get there. I remember my homie, I think, does a tray flip in this video, and I was super jealous of his tray flips back then. Oh yeah, look at him go. So this is my homie Billy, childhood friend. Look at him, and his foot is way up there. That was perfect. I remember, dude, Billy had the best trays, and I was like, how the just couldn't do it. What was I doing at this time? Smacking the fisheye, kick flips. Who remembers those shoes? I think they were called the Nike Zoom Tray. All right, so now we're going all the way to 2010. Look at that. Still asking for help on them. So from 2008, 2010, still not pulling the trays. I mean, that one was starting to really come together. Front foot a little bit higher up. I like how the back foot is sort of on the toes to get that scoop. And it really kind of explodes and does a full tray. I'm just ahead of it. And that's a huge problem that people have because the board naturally wants to travel backwards because the axis of rotation is those back wheels. So it's going to travel a little bit back. So when you really start getting the tray flip, you actually have to scoop it forward to keep it under you. So that's what I was struggling with at this point, but definitely starting to come together. 2+ years already trying to learn how to tray. Here's another one from summer 2010. 7-second video. What happened to those days? Look at that. I'm stoked. I look straight up at my homie. Shout out Matt if you're watching. I remember this phase. I started to be able to do them only on slippery ground and they would bounce. You could actually hear the bounce in this clip. What happens on slippery ground is when you start to scoop, those wheels can actually slip forward. And that's what helped me actually land on top of the board. On pavement, it's harder to throw the board in front of you. But when it's slidey ground, you can kind of just swing it. At that point, I'm actually rolling forward, which is a huge step. September 2010. Yeah, same thing. It's bouncing. But I am rolling forward. That one was nice. That one didn't even bounce. I'm stoked watching these. I mean, these are tray flips. They're not good because they're bouncing and I'm not too comfortable, but and I remember I'm still in the phase here where I need to try so hard to land the tray flip, but I'm getting them, which is huge. All right, another one from 2010. Yeah, that was a good tray. Look at that. All the way around. It's kind of coming around to my back foot, which interestingly still sometimes happens to me. So that's 3 years of trying the tray. That's how long it took me to get to that point. October 2010. Apparently I got my best tray up to that point. Yeah, look at that. That's a huge difference. You can really see my feet now starting to spread apart, like that classic tray flip look. Wow. Look at that. I mean, you can also see I look a little bit larger. It's like that combination of just trying it so hard for years and also growing. I think that's just a fact of the tray. That was sick. And I remember this tray. I was like, oh my f***ing God. I'm so stoked right now. You can see here I'm getting stoked on my tray flips. 3 tray flip videos in a row. I decided I was good enough for another trick tip. Definitely was not. Let's check it out. Oh yeah.
I'm George. Teach you how to tray flip.
And I'm such a freaking middle school skater in this. That's not bad. And look at my feet too. Front foot's taken up. Now it's more in the middle of the board. I'm actually really curious what tips I provided in this trick tip video.
I'll show you it one more time. I'll do 2 in a row just to show you that I'm good.
I apologize for my past self right now. Yeah, I mean, if I was pulling 2 in a row, that says something, honestly.
When you're doing tray flips, foot positioning is one of the most important things.
Now I don't feel like it's too important.
So when you go try these, I want you to try my foot position exactly.
It's funny, as a young skater, you think that a trick is all about like just this little tip that somebody's going to tell you and it's going to suddenly unlock the trick. But now I see every trick as just practice. In fact, everybody does tricks in slightly different ways. There's a chance that somebody's going to tell you something and suddenly it's going to make the trick click in your brain. But more often than not, it's you that has to figure out how you are going to do the trick, and that just takes a certain number of tries.
Put your front foot exactly in the middle of the board, but only your toes on the board. This will help you get a proper flick. You should have your back foot with your toes hanging off and slightly tilted. Your feet should look like this to get a perfect tray flip.
They have to be like this.
Bend down, jump up, scoop the tail as hard as you can. And when I say as hard as I can, I fucking mean it. Because if you don't scoop as hard as you can, you won't land.
When you're little, you do have to scoop it as hard as you can, and thankfully, as you grow, it gets easier to whip the tray around. And I'm not trying to say that you young kids shouldn't start trying the tray. I'm just saying don't be hard on yourself. Keep trying, because that's important, but don't be hard on yourself if it's not coming together. I mean, it took me a multitude of years.
So scoop as hard as you can, and flick straight off.
That honestly is a good tip. I think a lot of people, when they learn the tray, overthink the front foot, because when you varial flip, it really is a pop flick. But when you tray, if you just throw that front foot forward, it's gonna catch the board and it's gonna make it flip. You don't even have to roll your ankle. If you just literally project your foot forward, the tray flip will flip. Sometimes people are trying so hard to flick that they slow the board down with their front foot. Interesting insight from my 12-year-old self.
Since you'll be scooping the board, you don't have to move this foot, just flick straight off. I'll give you tips for when you're scooping. You want to make sure that your toes are hanging off, or else you won't get a proper scoop.
This is weird, but sometimes I even think about my toes grabbing the tail, almost like my foot is a hand, like I'm grabbing it and then I'm gonna throw that thing.
If you're scooping and the board is going behind you, try scooping the board forward like that.
Yep, that's a fact.
If your tray flips are kind of bouncing off the ground, try lifting your front foot a split second before you start the scoop.
It's an interesting tip. I mean, now I really do think about it like all at once. Pressure and release. We all do it differently. Swear, every time I watch one of my friends tray flip, they all look a little bit different. Super, super interesting. So here, 2011, I was really hyped on these trays. I was really stoked on these Vans 𝓅𝒶𝓈𝓈𝒾𝑜𝓃. And I have in my memory, this dude, I think he lived in Texas. I was really into the YouTuber community back in the day. I forget his name though. But he posted a video wearing 𝓅𝒶𝓈𝓈𝓾𝑜𝓃s, just doing 100 tray flips. And for whatever reason, watching that and then getting the shoes made me visualize them really well, and I would just bend down, scoop that thing. Let's check them out. Yeah, those are coming around. Now I'm actually doing them on the pavement. That was a steezy one, pretty much on the bolts. Yeah, but I will say I remember even after having this day of great tray flips, I would still lose them. They would come and they would go, and this happened for a long time. All right, this may be my first tray down a gap. Summer 2011. Yeah, I was definitely really stoked on this. I remember when I really started learning how to tray down gaps, it took me forever to commit, and when I did start committing, I would slip out, like bad. Oh, that was close. See, that's what I do. Still do that. I take my front foot off, even though if I just put it on, I might land it. Yeah, see that? That's a bad slip out. Not ready for it. That's not where you want to be. You want to be right on top of that thing, ready to bend your knees and ready to roll away. Another tray flip trick tip.
Yo, my name is 𝓅𝒶𝓈𝓈𝓾𝑜𝓃 and this is how to tray flip.
I'm just gonna go home. That one bounced. I heard it.
Alright, so here's how I place my...
It's the Nike Team Edition shoes, I think.
So basically you just scoop.
Honestly, that was a good tray. That one actually hits my front foot, which is how you know your tray is properly formed. Man, what a journey it's been up to 2012, and now they're starting to look pretty good. I know for a fact I'm still losing them constantly at this point, though. I think I tray flipped something when I went to Woodward in 2012. Somebody asked me if I could tray flip over this, like, Spitfire thing. I felt this pressure that, like, I had to do it for their video, so I just started throwing it. Oh, man, this is what would happen to me when I started trying them down gaps. Once I finally started committing and leaving that front foot on, I just wasn't ready to land it. And that still happens to me often, actually. The first time I put my feet on a tray, I'm not on top of it and I slip out. Like, I was surprising myself. I stuck it and I would slip out and then just tried to stay on top of it and actually got this. And the grass gap is not, it's kind of like a good sized gap. It's long. You have to go at a good speed. So what is it, from '08? I was landing 270 trays. 4 or 5 years later, pulled it off down the grass gap. All right, so at this point, there's gonna be a big jump in progress with the trays, I suspect, because I really stopped posting videos. Now we're all the way to when I was in college, which is about 4 years ago. All right, let's watch this flatground game in 2016. And I think I did some fat trays, or a fat tray in this game. Look at that tray, hold up. So I think I'm wearing the 𝓅𝒃𝓿𝓸𝓈𝓈 slip-ons here. So look at the front foot here. It almost looks like I'm about to do a kickflip. But I'm at the point where I have the leg strength and muscle memory where I can swing that thing around. And listen to that noise. This is the release of pressure that I'm talking about. And I think the way I did the tray in this video is still how I do them. I just kind of... that sound when your weight is super centered on both feet and you just let them rip. That's like the best way I can describe it. The tray just explodes. It's like that pressure helps it get around. Now I'm finally at the point where I have tray flip. If I want a tray flip, nothing to it, just whoop-pew. Took a long time to get there. The journey was absolutely worth it. My best tray flip downstairs. All right, side note, I can't believe I would try this rail with no helmet on. Still worrying about what others think at this point. Very foolish. Slip out. In front of it, not as bad of a problem in my opinion. And there it is. It's funny, that's like the size of the grass gap. 3 years later, I still don't have a tray down a gap. I mean, it's a long journey, long as hell. Here in this video in college 4 years ago, I have all 4 trays. And at this point, so yeah, busting those regular ones, no problem. Nollie trays coming together nice, looking good. All right, so I have this crazy relationship with switch tray. Something about my footing, I swear to God, makes it easier to whip around a switch tray. I don't have control over them, as you can see, like I do with the regular tray, but they're just whipping around. And I remember having to severely battle staying comfortable enough rolling switch in the switch tray position to bend down without like just fucking up my weight. I remember I would like bend down and just fall off or be like, it was just too uncomfortable. But once I got over that, actually forming the switch tray was not very hard. That blew my mind. This is a trick that I never thought I'd be capable of. I busted my ass. Look at that. Bolts. Fucking crazy. I need to remember to keep working on my nollie and switch tray because I think having all 4 trays well is valuable. I don't know. It's cool. Look at that. And fakie, you know, fakie tray is almost easier than regular tray because you don't have to worry about throwing it in front of you. You just scoop the tray and it will land under your feet because that's where the board wants to travel anyway. I swear I have a video where I'm learning switch tray. I had switch tray in 2012. Yeah, that came around. Now you can see this is what I'm talking about. When you're rolling switch in the switch tray position and you're not very comfortable with switch yet, that's the hardest part, is staying upright with your weight equally distributed. But if you're able to stand up on there, then I swear switch tray is not that hard. You could all surprise yourself just like I did. All right, so this is one of my favorite tricks I've ever done at the Maplewood skate park. I remember starting to try this and it was kind of like it was a joke in my head, like, oh, I'll just try a switch tray. It's crazy. We're all capable of so much more than we think. You know, it wasn't coming together, but then I think there was one try where it just started working. And this is the same thing. Same thing. The hardest part was rolling up fast enough switch and being comfortable enough to... Look at that. I almost fucking stuck that bolts. And I remember up to that attempt, I thought there's no way I'm going to do this, but I'm just trying for fun. And then I got a comfortable roll up and it's like, holy fuck, I could actually do this. Holy fucking shit, dude. I need to try to switch tray something else. It's been a while at this point. So this is 2019 summer, just last year. There it is. That kicking that front foot out is so dangerous. Oh, and the slip out, same shit. When you're tre flipping a gap this big, it is different because I found that when I would catch it too early, I didn't know what to do with it. It would still kind of keep rotating, so then I had to kick it out. What I ended up trying to do was, and Mike and I talk about it in this video, we were trying to like analyze the tre flip, but I would try to like just spot the ground where I wanted to land and just try to land the tre flip there on the ground. Like I wouldn't try to catch it early or flip it too fast. I would try to flip it a little slower and just focus on landing and not overthink too much. There it is. Man, that thing traveled. So there, I mean, I still catch it pretty high, but since it's not fully rotated, it had room to keep rotating after I catch it. I mean, you can actually see that it starts to come off of my feet, which is like a recipe for slipping out. See, I catch it, and then like I'm like barely on it. It looks like I'm about to slip out, but luckily I hung on to this one. I think if I were to do it again, I would try to be much more centered with my weight. So this was about a month ago. This is like, now we're at today. This has been a interesting journey to actually go through over 10 years of tre flips. I don't know, it's kind of special. Look at that. I mean, that's a well-formed tre.
What a wonderful world. What a wonderful world. What a wonderful world. Colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by.
So that has been my tre flip journey for about 12, 13 years. Thank you guys for watching this one. Hopefully you found it inspiring, insightful, interesting, entertaining in some way. If you did, thumbs up button, always helpful. Drop your comments. Let me know what you want to see. Side channel and podcast channel. Feel free to subscribe to those if you're interested. Appreciate you guys. Shred on, practice social distancing, be safe, and look out for each other. Catch you guys next time. Why is Siri? What the fuck? Anyways, this was my Wiz Khalifa phase. Busting my ass, which